Okay, hey guys, sorry it's so late. I kind of got a bit busy today and it's now almost 9 o'clock at night. This is the first chance I've had to record this today. But anyway, I think for this video I'm going to talk about my first field trip with my Prussian history class. And that was, first of all, in the morning we went to Charlottenburg Palace in Berlin, which was pretty awesome actually. It's huge. The gardens are huge, the palace itself is huge. It's kind of this weird pinkish color with the, I believe it's a copper roof, but it's turned green now with time. So it's really cool. The inside was beautiful. It's 2 floors. Bottom floor was really nice. I didn't buy the pass to take pictures inside, so unfortunately I don't have any pictures of the interior, which was really pretty. They had their own chapel, which had a huge Prussian eagle, and it was just gorgeous. They also actually keep the Prussian crown jewels in Charlottenburg, which I got to see, and that was really awesome. They had, they also had the funerary mask and sword of the Hohenzollern family, which goes back to medieval times. It was really cool. Got to see that as well, and in the same room as that and the Prussian crown jewels, they also had a whole bunch of Fritz's really ornate snuff boxes, which was also kind of cool. But to get through all that, you had to go through all this porcelain, all the porcelain rooms and all of that, which was really gorgeous. I didn't realize how much porcelain they had till I went through that, though it pales in comparison to what I saw in Vienna, which I will talk about later when I get to that in another video, probably Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. Went through that, went through the gardens before lunch. My friend Braun and I stopped and got a sandwich on the way back to the train station, and then our whole class met back up at the train station, got back on there, went back into the middle of Berlin to the German History Museum, which, again, I probably should do this as a video all to itself, but it was just awesome. To name a few of the things that I saw, which I wrote down in my travel diary again, we got to see a sword from the Teutonic Knights, actually several swords from the Teutonic Knights, the German Knights of the Crusades, which was freaking awesome. We got to see a lot of Martin Luther's original handwritten manuscripts, not the original 95 Theses that he nailed to the wall, or not wall, nailed to the door of his church that started the whole Protestant Reformation, but a whole bunch of his other writings. They have them. They have the manuscripts. They're these huge books, and they're just amazing. They're on display. They've got a cannon from the 30 Years' War on display. They've got uniforms worn by Otto von Bismarck and Kaiser Wilhelm, both first and the second. They have the original portrait that's the most famous portrait of the Soldier King, Friedrich Wilhelm I. They have 2 of his paintings that he did that were portraits of his soldiers, the ones in his special unit, the Potsdam Giants, who were all like over 6 foot tall, and they're life-size portraits. And people say he wasn't a fantastic painter, which I'll admit his skills weren't great, but he was actually pretty darn good, considering he was a man who didn't really like the arts at all. And something really interesting that we got to see was Napoleon's hat and sword from the Battle of Waterloo. Apparently the Prussian army found these in his carriage after the battle and took them back as trophies, and now they're on display in the German History Museum, which was freaking awesome. I mean, you walk around the corner into the area of the museum where this is displayed, and you can't really tell at first what it is, but you walk around the corner, you just immediately know it belongs to Napoleon, because it looks just like the hat and everything that you always see him wearing in the painted portraits and all of it. It's exactly the same, and you can just tell it was really cool. And as much as I'm freaking out about getting to see that, that's not what I was most excited to see. Like, the entire time we were there going through the first part of the museum, like the first third of the museum, I was really antsy the whole time, because I knew that if I just kept going, at some point I'd get to the part of the exhibit that was about Frederick the Great, which, again, me being the huge German history nerd that I am, and being the huge Fritz fan that I am, this was like heaven to me. It was also kind of torture. It was both heaven and torture. So, but we eventually got to that part. I really didn't pay much attention to the exhibit on his father, which I probably should have, but I didn't, because I'm not overly fond of the Soldier King. But we got to the part with all the artifacts about Frederick the Great, and the most amazing thing is, in the middle of the room is a glass case that has his military uniform, like the uniform he was always in. Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional about this. It was freaking awesome. Like, it's got the coat, the vest, the shirt, his cane, his gloves, his hat, everything. It was so cool. Like, it was really cool, but it was also really tiny. Like, I didn't realize that he was a tiny man. I knew he wasn't exactly the tallest of people, but he was a tiny man. We figured out some weird things while we were looking at the uniform. Like, my friend Jessica was freaking out because there was this little bow on the hat, and I'm like, Jessica, you can see that in all of the portraits. Why is it that shocking? But it was kind of adorable. But anyway, because it was sitting in a glass case in the middle of the room, you could walk around it, and when I walked behind it, it lined up perfectly, and my friends started joking because it turns out that Fritz, at least body size wise, was the same size as me, and I'm relatively tiny. So that was kind of strange, just a little bit, but I really liked it. They did kind of joke for the rest of the trip about me, the huge Fritz fan, being the same height and size as Fritz, which, coincidences. I hate them, and I love them, but yes, that was the first field trip that I took with my Prussian history class, and oh boy, it was just amazing. Like, me, Jessica, and Braun took so long going through the exhibits that we didn't have time to sit down and write our informal, I guess, reviews, you could call them, of the field trip in the museum, because we spent so much time there that we spent about 3-4 hours just going through the top floor. So we didn't even get to really go through the World War I and World War II exhibits, the bottom floor, because it goes to the top floor and then the bottom floor. We didn't even get to go through the bottom floor, really, because we ran out of time, because we got so into it. Thankfully, our professor, knowing we were the 3 biggest history nerds in the class, knowing we'd take forever, was kind enough to allow us to write them on the train back to the hotel, which also didn't happen because it was crowded and we didn't get seats on the train. We had to stand up. So he sat with us in the hotel lobby while we sat at the table and wrote up our informal responses to the field trip, which was interesting. Anyway, so that's all for that trip. I will post some pictures of this from this particular day at the end of this video, like I did yesterday, for some of my other field trips, like the one I took on July 17th. I will have to make an entirely separate video for the photos, but This one I will post them at the end of the video. Anyway, I will see you guys again tomorrow.